In the first 9 seasons of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, we've been privileged to witness some exceptionally talented young bowlers. And some of them, we pretty much knew all along, would one day go on to become professional bowlers. On January 31st, the PBA announced its 2026 rookie class. Headlining this group is Spencer Robarge. And while Spencer has never appeared on Prodigy, he is a KCO alum. But 2 of the players included in the PBA's announcement are Prodigy alums and deserve recognition from all of us in Prodigy land. C.J. Petrin's first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour came at the 2017 Georgia Youth Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, where he won 3 matches to capture the U15 boys title. Tyrell Ingalls made several appearances on Prodigy. His only titles came on 2 of the Prodigy team events, but he also made a serious run up the mother of all stepladders at the 2018 Prodigy TOC. C.J. Petrin and Tyrell Ingalls may be the first Prodigy alums to become regular members of a professional tour, but they're not the first Prodigy alums to bowl in a pro tournament. Back in 2019, when he was just 16 years old, Charles Bostic made it through the Pro Tour qualifier to secure a spot in the U.S. Open, and then made the cut in a PBA regional. In 2024, Annalise O'Brien finished 20th in the U.S. Open and finished 2nd in 2 PWBA tournaments, the Myrtle Beach Regional and the Mooresville Regional. And last year in 2025, she paired with Spencer Robarge to cash at the Striking Against Breast Cancer Mixed Doubles Tournament. Then there was Caden White, who, after capturing his junior gold title, bowled in 2 PBA regionals in 2025. In August, he finished 3rd at the PBA regional in Lincoln, Nebraska. And then he took 1st place at the PBA regional in St. Louis. So while C.J. Petrin and Tyrell Ingalls won't be the first Prodigy alums to bowl with the pros, they're the first to officially turn pro and become regulars on the PBA Tour. We wish them both nothing but success. Now in its 10th season, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, celebrating junior bowling and elevating junior bowlers. Today, episode 205, the 2026 Kansas City Open February Point Tournament. 5 players have advanced to the TV finals, but only 1 can emerge as the Division II champion. Here are the 5 finalists. Qualifying 5th is Andrew Ravasini of Lee Summit, Missouri. He'll face the 4th qualifier, Alexander Garcia of Kansas City, Kansas. The winner of that match will challenge the 3 seed, Kalen Melvin of Tonganoxie, Kansas. That winner will advance to bowl the 2 seed, Cameron Watson of Kansas City, Missouri. And the winner of that match will bowl for the title against Dylan Johnson of Lee Summit. He's our tournament leader. One of these 5 young athletes will claim the KCO Division II title today and will sign the coveted trophy pin right here on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. We welcome you, and Rex the Dinosaur welcomes you, to Crown Lanes in Leavenworth, Kansas, home of the 2026 Kansas City Open February Point Tournament. It's high school bowling season in the state of Kansas, and since Kansas high school bowlers are ineligible to compete in tournaments while the high school bowling season is underway, we had a somewhat sparse field this month at the KCO. But we still have a strong field thanks to all the Missouri kids who showed up to bowl. As always at the KCO, the field is divvied up into 5 average-based divisions. And today we're bringing you the championship round stepladder finals in Division 2, the players whose averages are from 180 to 199. And their handicap is 90% of the difference between their entering average and the top of the division, or in this case, 199. The early birds, who chose to be in the A squad, went off bright and early in the morning, while B squad got to sleep in a little. Both squads bowl 6 games, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, before the field is cut to the top 5 for the stepladder finals. Here's how the qualifying round shook out in Division 2 today. Of course, you already know who made the top 5. In 6th is our alternate, Pierre Luis Flores Garcia, who missed a roll-off for the 5th position by just 7 pins. There's Ryan Johnson in 7th. You saw him last month. Grace Ryder, who's won a couple of times on Prodigy, finished 8th. Tied for 12th is Liliana Gentlemark, a winner on Prodigy last season in Gladstone. In 15th, Alina Miller, the granddaughter of our tournament chairman, Lee Miller. Xander Yim in 16th. In 18th, there's Camden Hale, who you saw win on Prodigy last month. Curtis Malem in 21st. He's a former winner on Prodigy. There in 25th is Caleb Standridge, who won on Prodigy back in November. And you see the rest of the Division 2 field. So here's how the stepladder lines up. You see our 4th qualifier, Alexander Garcia, and our 5th qualifier, Andrew Ravasini, are getting ready to do battle in our opening match, as the winner will keep advancing as long as he keeps winning. Meanwhile, the rest of our contenders, Kaylin Melvin, Cameron Watson, and Dylan Johnson, are down on the practice pair, staying loose as they await whoever is going to advance to bowl them. But right now, it's time to get this competition underway, as our number 5 qualifier, Andrew Ravasini, will face our 4th qualifier, Alexander Garcia. All 4 of the boys on the show today are making their first appearance on Prodigy. Among the 5 players in our field today, only Kaylin Melvin has been on the show before. You'll see her in our 2nd match. And first to go is going to be Andrew Ravasini. This is his very first tournament. And he runs by the head pin on his opening toss, leaving a tricky little spare, the 1-2-8. Andrew is 17 years of age. His opponent, Alexander Garcia, 14. Andrew's high game, a 256. And his high series, a 657. Oh, he gets a break. The 2-pin comes back off the wall and gets the 8. So he starts with a spare. You take those breaks however you can get them. And now Alexander Garcia. First time I saw him at one of these KCOs, I said, "You're Alexander Garcia? The Alexander Garcia?" And it's been kind of a running joke between me and him. I don't think he understands the joke, but whenever I see him, I'm like, "You're the Alexander Garcia." Well, that one went Brooklyn. And the Alexander Garcia starts by leaving the 5-10, which is not what you want. These 2 players very evenly matched. You see their handicaps just 2 pins apart. Oh, man. A great effort at the 5-10, but cuts it a little too thin. And so it's an open frame to start. I mentioned that Andrew Ravasini's high game is 256. That is also Alexander Garcia's high game. And Andrew's high series 657. Alexander's is 655. So, like I said, two players that are very evenly matched. Alexander with 9 out in the first frame would give him, of course, 9 in the first. We add his 14 pins of handicap directly into his score in the first frame. That's how we arrived at 23 in the first. We'll do the same thing with Andrew. And Alexander covers the 2-pin with no problem. Well, Andrew Ravicini, 17 years old, as I mentioned, he just started bowling league this year, or this season anyway. As he cuts through the nose and leaves the 3-6, he just started bowling when he was 16, and this is his first season in a youth league, so you'd have to say he's a relative newbie to the sport. To make the top 5 in his first ever bowling tournament, that's pretty heady stuff, I'd say. And he covers the spare. I know he's got a rooting section here. I'm sure we will hear from them. Says he wants to be an engineer when he grows up. So Andrew with a spare and then 8 on the next ball in the second would have 18 plus his 16 handicap. That's how we got 34. Once again, he runs by the head pin on the left lane. He's going to have to make an adjustment there to correct for that as he leaves the 1, 2, 4, 8. He left the 1, 2, 8 in the first frame and got a lucky break to spare it up. For this, you want to move your feet about 3, 4, maybe 5 boards to the right. Throw it over your strike target and hit right there on the 1, 2. Beautifully done. Well, we've got a little lower camera angle on the show this month. I took a fall and figured it would not be wise to be attempting to climb the ladder up onto the camera platform that usually gets our camera up high. So we're shooting the old-fashioned way with the tripod on the floor. He crosses over this time like he did in the first frame, but this time he gets the mixer action. So Alexander Garcia gets our first strike of the match. Let's take another look at it. 4-step approach, big high backswing. Ball nice and close to his ankle when he lets it go, but he just pulled it left. And got away with it, the 9-pin, the last one to go. Gave that one plenty of room. Pretty good shot, just didn't quite have enough juice on it to get the blower. So the 7 remains. When we asked how he got started bowling, he said his family got him into the game. And he covers the single pin spare easily.
That's why I have these tripods. They go higher.
So, match stays close. Andrew with a 7-pin advantage. Up in the 4th, working on a spare. Pretty nice release that time, smooth. Lays it down right on the floor. You barely hear the ball hit the floor when Andrew lets it go. That gets the ball into a roll early. Gave that one a little more room to the right, so it read the friction on the outside of the lane. And the ball did the work through the pocket. 10 in the pit. That time he didn't give it quite so much room. And it looked like he got around it a little more than maybe he would have liked. And he leaves the 3-6. This one, you want to move your feet to the far left side of the approach. Go cross lane at it. And he covers it. I'm seeing some pretty good spare shooting out of both of these players thus far. Alexander, of course, with that open, but he almost made that split in the first frame. That was a pretty good shot. Just came in fractionally high. Didn't get the break to trip the 4, so he'll have a single pin to shoot at. He's got that big high backswing. I'm not going to lie to you, I don't love that. But he covers the spare. The reason I don't love that big high backswing is because it doesn't look like he's swinging it back into that position. It looks like he's lifting it to that position or hoisting it up to the top. Alexander started bowling when he was 5, and I see this a lot in kids who start real young. The ball is real heavy to them when they first start at such a young age, and so their tendency is to hoist that ball up to get it to the top of the swing, and then they never unlearn that habit. There's a good shot. He stuffed them straight back on that one. Nothing to complain about on this shot. Over about 12 at the arrows, out to about 8 at the break point, and man, that's 10 back. Can't do it any better than that. Yes! And Andrew comes in light, doesn't quite have the rev rate to drive out the 5, but he gets it off the wall. And in this game, it's not how, it's how many. Watch this ball. It's going to deflect to the right when it hits the pocket. Goes around the 5, but the head pin comes back off the wall and takes out the kingpin, the 5. Andrew with an 8-pin lead. And he gets a blower this time. Had the power to drive out the 5 that time. This is more like what you're looking for. Over about 14, out to about 11 that time. Straighter trajectory, and that 5-pin goes over and wipes out the 7. Gotta love it. Well, that was a pretty good shot that time. Alexander just didn't quite have the rev rate to snap out the corner pin. So he will be shooting the 10. Once again, going cross lane at it. Oh, look out. Just pulled it, just did not give it room. Well, I know he's disappointed with that, and with that open frame, he falls 30 pins behind with just 3 frames left to go. Can't be making mistakes like that. Better shot. But again, just didn't have the fingers on it to get it to come back. Gave it room. I thought it was going to read the friction out there and come back, but it just kind of flattened out at the end. Easy spare, though. Oh, no. He hit his ankle. Man, not only does he suffer the indignity of a gutter ball, but that's smarts. Man, you hit that bone on the inside of your ankle, you will feel that for the next 18 hours or so. Bless his heart. Well, a light hit for Andrew ends his string of strikes at 2, but with a 37-pin lead, he's in the driver's seat as he shoots at the 2-4-5-7 here in the 8th frame. Put the ball right on the 2 and the 5, or you can shoot it at the 2 and the 4. Either way should work. There you go. And he remains clean through the first 8 frames. And in a lot of these matches, especially in the handicap divisions at the KCO, if you can make your spares, you will be a tough out. But now Andrew can pretty much put the hammer down. That will just about do it. The best Alexander can do is 199. If he strikes in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, Andrew is already sitting at 186 if he doesn't throw another shot. Well, he gets a light shaker. So Alexander stays mathematically still in the match. Watch it again. Watch this big high backswing. Just gets a piece of the head pin, but it's just enough to send it to the left wall, and it comes back and does the damage. But he must keep striking to have any chance at all. But no, through the nose, leaves the 6-pin, and that will be all she wrote. For Alexander Garcia, it's going to be Andrew Ravicini who takes this opening match. Alexander covers the spare. And now he's moving over to the right lane, but no, you will throw your fill ball on the same lane that you threw your spare in the 10th. Possible 179 with a fill of 10 here on the last ball. All right, 178. Respectable. And now Andrew will finish out the game. And he starts the 10th frame the way you like to see. With a solid strike, high flush. Five-step approach. He lays the ball close to his ankle. That's good. You don't want to get so close that you hit your ankle like Alexander did earlier, but ten-pin. So he's going to be in the 220s. Not bad. The bowlers to our right on lanes 13 and 14, that's Division 4. The bowlers to our left are Division 3. We'll fill you in on how their stepladder played out when we get to the end of the show. But right now, it's Andrew Ravasini who takes match 1 here in the stepladder finals at the February KCO. And now he will face Kalen Melvin, our 3 seed, in match 2. In 2016, when Prodigy Bowlers Tour was first launched, the kids on the show were just bowling for bragging rights. But a viewer of the show, Amanda Mayer, left a comment on one of the videos saying if there were an actual prize they were bowling for, you might get more kids to enter. And with that, the coveted trophy pin was born. On each show, the winner would sign the coveted trophy pin, and that tradition has continued until today. At the end of each season, we hold the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, or Prodigy TOC for short, and the winner claims the pin as their own. Early on in the show's history, some of our winners opted to give the pin away, but in recent years, the victors have figured if the coveted trophy pin is all that coveted, then why wouldn't I want to keep it? I wouldn't argue with them, and so they have kept it. There were a couple of years in there during the pandemic where we didn't award a coveted trophy pin. But here's the list of winners through the years. Charles Bostic in 2017. Peyton Smith in 2018. Nick Dissinger in 2019. Production of the show was suspended in 2020 due to the pandemic, so the 2019-2020 coveted trophy pin was orphaned mid-season. But just before I moved back to Kansas City from Atlanta in late 2021, we gave that final Atlanta coveted trophy pin to the winner of the Farewell Atlanta episode of the show, and that pin went to Hunter Moffett. In 2022, we shot and released our first Kansas City-based episode, the 2022 KCO Invitational, but there was no coveted trophy pin. Then, in the fall of 2022, when we started covering the KCO each month, a new coveted trophy pin was put in play, and in 2023, it was won by P.J. Dokalis. In 2024, Rhett Ryman was the first to break tradition and keep the coveted trophy pin when he won it. And in 2025, Eli Clinklin claimed the Prodigy TOC title, and along with it, the coveted trophy pin. Once again this season, all the winners at all the KCO tournaments throughout the current season are qualified to bowl in the 2026 Prodigy TOC, where the current coveted trophy pin will be claimed by the next Prodigy TOC winner. It was a match that stayed close until the 7th and 8th frames when Alexander Garcia suffered a couple of opens right on the heels of Andrew Ravasini putting up a double. But in the end, Andrew had just a little too much firepower. But Alexander showed promise, and he's going to keep improving. But for now, it's Andrew Ravasini who is advancing to match 2, where he'll now face our number 3 qualifier, Kaylin Melvin. The very first time Kaylin appeared on Prodigy, I singled her out as a young bowler to keep our eyes on. She has some elements of her game that are advanced beyond her years, and she's still only 12. Let that sink in. If she keeps improving like I think she will, this girl is going to be one of the best to come out of this area. It's been a while since the last time we got her on Prodigy, and I, for one, am looking forward to this. But Andrew Ravicini has got to be feeling pretty good about himself coming off that 225. So it'll be interesting to see these two players go at it. We're waiting for some changes to be made in the overhead scoring in the bowling center. I think not only do they need to, well, they've already removed the scores from the warm-up practice balls, but they need to get the arrows reversed. They'll do that at the counter. Meanwhile, Kaylin Melvin started the season in September, qualifying in the number 2 position, finished 3rd. She moved up to Division 1 in October, didn't have a great outing, got re-rated down to Division 2, and she's been pretty steady ever since.
Andrew, you're going to be a +8.
Okay, she starts with a thin hit and leaves the 2-5. Kaylin's been bowling since she was 4, and believe it or not, she's just 12 years old now. This is not typical game of a 12-year-old, as you will see. All right. Andrew Ravicini coming off that win in match 1. Well, he just doesn't have the rev rate to drive that ball through the rack and carry that hit. Now, ordinarily, you would see a two-hander rev it up, but he just doesn't get the revs that you see a lot of two-handers get, and maybe we'll have a chance to show you why a little later on in the show. Oh my. Well, that was an unforced error, an open frame, and a missed 5-pin, probably the easiest spare there is. So you add his 16 pins of handicap to his 9 that he got in the first frame, and that's how we arrive at 25. We add the players' handicaps to their score right there in the first frame, so you don't have to do any math in your head. There you go. That's what he's looking for, that light shaker action. Here's his footwork, 5-step approach. See how he turns that slide foot to the right. Don't love that. We might get a chance to take another look at that later on, but love the result on that hit. Kaylin with a good pocket hit, but it just doesn't quite carry the 10-pin. Well, the first time she was on the show, which was, I guess, maybe a couple of years ago, was she 10 when she made her first appearance on Prodigy? Wow. She was showing me things in her game that you just don't see in kids her age. And at 12, I would say that's still true. She really knows how to use her balance arm, her left arm. When she pushes the ball away, that left arm stays out in front until the ball gets to the top of the swing, and then it swings around. And man, she just labeled the pocket on that one. There was never a doubt. Not sure if this was the line she was playing, but she put it in that perfect spot where it just sat right in the pocket. Proving she's got a little pull area. And once again, Andrew Ravasini with a good pocket hit, but didn't have either the entry angle or the rev rate to snap out the corner pin. Here you see his slide foot spins around, pointing way to the right. That reorients his hips and his legs and all of his body to the right. You want that foot pointing parallel to the launch angle where you're throwing the ball. And he just gets the 10 pin. Just 2 pins separating these two. Well, that time his lower rev rate cost him. That ball never even thought about getting back. And now he's left himself a difficult little split, the 2-7-8. You don't see this all that often. But the way you would make it is to put the ball on the right side of the 2-pin, knock the 2-pin over into the 7, and have enough on the ball that it drives through and carries out the 8. Just like that. Man, that was beautiful. That is not an easy spare right there. Watch it again. He puts this one right where it needed to be. Perfect. All right, Kaylin with a 5-pin lead, working on a strike. She can extend to 15 with another one here. But instead, she leaves another 10-pin. See if we can see why. Looks in pretty good position at the top of the swing, but look at the bottom. Instead of the ball being under her head, which would place it right next to her ankle, there's a gap between her ball and the ankle, and she's going to lose a lot of leverage doing that. If Kaylin would keep her right elbow in closer to her body, that'll bring that ball in closer to her leg, and she'll be in a much stronger position, and she won't leave so many weak 10s. But she's a good spare shooter. You don't become a good player if you're not a good spare shooter. Players we're watching on the left, that's Division III. The players to our right, Division IV. We'll recap their step ladders at the end of the show. Change of balls. That's the ball that Leila Gonzalez used to shoot 300 on Prodigy last month. Kaylin hoping for similar results. See her foot at release? Parallel to her approach. That is ideal. There you go. That's how you drive out the 5-pin. Sometimes it's just fractionally a different entry angle, or you just got a little more fingers on it. That one got out a little wider, out to about 8 or 9, so it had a little more entry angle to carry out the 5. Now Andrew with a chance to take the lead with a strike here. And there it is. And you see his rooting section cheering him on. Take another look at this one. He didn't send this one quite so wide. That was over about 14 at the arrows. Never got outside of about 13. Pretty straight shot. It just set in the pocket. And another 10-pin. Kaylin's got to be grinding her teeth right about now. That's 3 10-pins on the right lane. Couple of weak 10s. This was a strong 10, a ringing 10. Oh, no. You almost never see her do that. Just a lapse in concentration. Sometimes you get frustrated by your carry, the pinfall, and you just lose focus for a minute. She won't miss a 10-pin very often. Ball just didn't quite get back. Leaves the 7. And now she's starting to run out of frames, trailing by 17. Got to be careful with this. You can't be giving away easy ones. There you go. No problemo. But you can almost see the frustration in her facial expression when she came off the lanes. Thinking, what do I have to do to get a strike? Well, Andrew not immune to the vexing 10-pin issue. And he'll go cross lane at it. And he covers it. Well, I asked him how he got started bowling. He said through his high school club team. Now, in Missouri, high school bowling is just a club activity. And I tell you what, if he keeps throwing shots like that, he'll be the president of that club before long. That's what you're looking for. Send it out a little to the right. Let it read the friction on the outside of the lane. Come back and bomb the pocket. All right, Kaylin up on the right. And you got to wonder if she made a slight adjustment after 3 straight 10-pins on the right lane. Maybe she moved her feet a half a board to the right, trying to force it in there a little higher in the pocket. It was a little higher, all right. It almost left a split. But she covers the 7-pin. Kaylin with a possible 214 if she strikes out. Andrew going at a 211 pace. So this match is not over. And that's what Kaylin's looking for. That's the blower strike. Watch it. She will hit fairly light in the pocket. But the ball will drive through enough to send the 5 over toward the 7. And just enough pin action over there in the corner to get that 7 to go. All right, Andrew can put the hammer down with a strike here. But instead, he hooks high, goes through the nose, and leaves a devilish spare. The 3-9 double wood. Anytime you've got the sleeper back there, I recommend going with a ball that hooks. Feather it out to the right a little bit, let it hook back. You need to hit this right on the face of the front pin, the 3. but he's a little too wide with it. It doesn't drive through, and now he opens in the 9th, and we've got us a match. Not only do we have a match, but because Kaylin has that strike up in the 9th, she is sitting at a decided advantage right now. Andrew can strike out in the 10th, and he cannot shut out Kaylin. And he's not gonna strike out. So now the best he can do is 199. So a spare and good count, and he will force Kaylin to get the first strike in the 10th to beat him. But he had this match all but put away. All right, he covers the spare. Had to do that. And now he needs 5 pins to force Kaylin Melvin to throw the first strike in the 10th to win.
146 plus 8 is 154.
If he would happen to get some crazy low count, Kaylin could win with a spare. But there's 8, and that's enough. So he will finish with 197. Kaylin needs the first strike in the 10th and a few pins in count, but she must strike here. No, it's wide.
Come on.
And Andrew survives a close one. And I think Kaylin would like to burn down this right lane. It was not very friendly to her this match. She never did get a strike over there. Well, that doesn't really matter now. So it's Andrew Ravasini who's now won the first 2 matches in our stepladder. And he's moving on to match 3 to face a most interesting player. Cameron Watson coming up. To keep up with all things Prodigy year-round, join the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Facebook group. It's absolutely free, and you'll get behind-the-scenes info about the show and some of the players you see bowling on it. Plus, you'll get the occasional sneak peek at what's coming on future episodes, and you'll stay informed about where the next episode stands in the creation process. From any page on Facebook, type the words Prodigy Bowlers Tour into the search bar and hit enter. That'll take you to the page where you can submit a request to join the Prodigy Facebook group. You'll be presented with 3 simple screening questions. Be sure to answer them. If you don't, we'll assume the request to join the group is coming from a spam bot, and you'll be denied access. Nobody wants spam bots in the group. So just follow the simple directions and answer the 3 screening questions, and we'll see you on Facebook. Well, that match stayed close just about the whole way. Kaylin made one big mistake when she missed that 10-pin in the 6th frame, which had her chasing Andrew to the end. But Andrew gave her the opening she needed. She just couldn't overcome the right lane when she needed a strike in the 10th. But I know we'll see Kaylin Melvin again. Heck, we'll be watching her bowl for years to come. But today, it's Andrew Ravasini who took the match, so he's advancing to match 3, where he'll now face one of the most interesting young players we have at the KCO. I've been hoping for some time to get Cameron Watson on the show so you can see his unique style of bowling. He's a two-hander who throws a backup ball as his regular shot. Plus, like Kalen Melvin, Cameron is just 12 years old. In fact, he's about a month older than Kalen. But as you'll see, he's no newbie. He's been bowling since he was 4 years old, which actually is just like Kalen. She's 12, and she's been bowling since she was 4. But I'll tell you what, this guy can really sing it. Comes in a little thin with that one. Doesn't quite get the blower to go. The 10-pin remains. This is his first tournament in Division II. He's been bowling Division III this whole season until this month. And he covers the 10-pin. All right, Andrew Ravicini, who's got to be feeling like he's warmed up to this pair of lanes. I'd say so. Watch that last shot again. 5-step approach. Lays it down pretty close to his ankle. Don't love how that foot spins out to the right. I pointed that out earlier, but he can go to work on that. Pulled it. And gets away with it. That could have been a split or another 3-9 or something crazy. But he leaves just the 3-pin. This kid, an all-around athlete. He also plays baseball and cross country. Covers the spare. All right. Cameron Watson, high game, 267. High series, 657. So he's kind of right in there with Andrew. He won a KCO in 2023 in Division III when we were in Lawrence. Wasn't on Prodigy that day, but he did win. There's that light shaker he's looking for. That's more of a blower. Watch the 5-pin, the pin behind the head pin. That's the key pin. He's going to hit light and send that 5-pin over into the 6 and 10. And that's what makes it a power strike. And he puts that one right in the hole, man. I asked his mom if there was a physical limitation that caused him to bowl with a backup ball. She said, nope. He likes Jesper Svensson, left-hander on the PBA Tour. And I guess at some level wishes he was left-handed, so he throws a left-handed hook. Right-handed. That's how you throw a right-handed hook, right-handed right there. Andrew showing you how it's done. Watch it again. This was a strong shot here. He got it out wide enough that it was able to read the friction on the lane. Plowed through the rack. And this time the ball just labored to get back. Never quite climbed high enough. And he leaves a weak 10. Would have liked to have gotten that one. Would have made this a much closer match. As it is, he trails by 11. Covers the spare. Tell you what, he's proven to be a pretty good spare shooter. Well, Cameron Watson says he wants to be a pro bowler someday, so I don't know if he'll ever change from this backup style. I don't think we've ever seen a pro bowler throwing a backup ball as his go-to shot. I know Anthony Simonson has won with a backup ball once or twice when the right side of the lane was chewed up and he decided that it was clearer sailing on the left side of the lane. We also saw Caden White do that on Prodigy last season when we were in St. Joe. Here's how you make the 3, 5, 6, 9. That's the left-hander's bucket, or the backup ball thrower's bucket. And that's how you make it. Perfectly done. Well, this guy has won the Missouri State Championship 3 times in a row in U8, U10, and U10. He calls that his best achievement in the sport. I'd say that's pretty juicy. There's another blower. I tell you what, if you can get that kind of entry angle like he's getting, that light hit will usually be your friend. It's when you get it a little too wide that you start seeing 3-7s, 3-7-9s, junk like that. Oh boy. Well, once again, we just see that Andrew just doesn't have the rev rate to drive through the rack. And so he's going to leave 5 pins occasionally. Let's see if we can figure out why that is. At the bottom of the swing, you see his fingers are above the equator of the ball. Look at Jason Belmonte on the left side of your screen. Look at what his fingers are in the very bottom of the ball. When you can rotate the ball from that position, you can really put some revs on it. When your hand is on top of the ball, you give up tons of power. Andrew carries the ball in his swing with his wrist broken back, which puts his hand in more of a on top of the ball position rather than cradling the ball with his right hand under it. If he would make that change, he would suddenly see his rev rate go way up. But I tell you what, when you stuff them straight back like that, it doesn't really matter how it comes off your hand. He pulls that one so far to the left, that ball never got to the right of about the 14th board. But there's enough oil in there that it's not going to overhook. Cameron with another powerful strike. He doesn't generate a lot of speed, but he really gets the entry angle. His rev rate is pretty good. It's not great, but when you have that kind of entry angle, you can make a lot of good things happen. That's why you hook the ball. And he gets the 7 to go late. That was a magic trick there. Here's his footwork, 5-step approach. Everything looks normal except his release. You see his left foot, how it's pointed to the left? More or less parallel to the launch angle that he sends the ball on coming off his hand. And that 4-pin just leans into the 7 and gets it to go. Beautiful. There's a light shaker. That keeps Andrew in the match. That cuts Cameron's lead down to 18. This was almost a must strike. The head pin will go to the left wall, come back, get the 4 and the 7. Now he can cut the lead to 8 with another strike here in the 8th frame. This would be big. But instead, he sends it a little wide, doesn't get quite enough turn on it, didn't have enough fingers, rev rate to get it to come back, and now he's got another missable spare with the 2-4-5. Move your feet about 3 or 4 boards to the right of your strike position. Throw your strike ball right over your strike target. Let it drift to the Brooklyn side. Right there. Easy peasy. A lot of times I like to see players shoot that spare from the left side of the lane, but in this situation, my advice is keep it simple. All right, Cameron with a chance to extend his lead to 31. Hello. Well, that time looked to me like he missed a little farther to the right than he has been. That ball is going to make a turn on about the 4th or 5th board, but he finds that light shaker area and blows him out. How about another one for a 41-pin lead? How about it? This kid is on fire. No question about this one. Over the 4th arrow. That got out to, I'm going to say, about 5. And that was 10 in the pit, baby. Well, the light shaker shook everything but the 7. And I think Andrew knows he's got a tiger by the tail. Still has a possible 231 with a spare here and 3 strikes in the 10th. Cameron is sitting at 223 if he doesn't throw another ball. And I'm pretty sure he will. So it's pretty much all over but the shouting. And now it is simply all over. Cameron Watson is going to bowl for the title against Dylan Johnson in our championship match. But I'll tell you what, Andrew Ravasini has got to be feeling pretty good. A 3rd place finish in his first bowling tournament ever, after only been bowling for about a year, if even. This being his first season in the sport. And he finishes with another 10-pin. I think he's probably sick of seeing those. But a 219 will win a lot of matches on Prodigy, just not this one. Well, that messenger just wasn't really interested in delivering anything to the 7-pin, so spare strike finish. And Cameron Watson can finish with a 262, including his 17 pins of handicap. That's pretty good. You see he uses a plastic spare ball to shoot at those left corner spares. He's pretty good at it. I figured we'd get this kid on the show one of these days, and that day is today. And he throws it high flush on the fill ball for a 262. Thank you very much. And it's Cameron Watson who's moving on to bowl for the championship against our tournament leader, Dylan Johnson, when we return. Surprisingly, less than a quarter of you watching Prodigy right now are actually subscribed to the channel. Did you know that by not subscribing, you keep us from growing the channel? Take a moment right now and smash that subscribe button. Ring the notification bell so you'll receive a notification whenever we post a new video. That way, you won't miss anything. Leave a comment down below. We just ask that you not post any spoilers. You know, comments that give away the ending. This kind of engagement, viewers hitting the like button, subscribing, and leaving comments, goes a long way toward getting YouTube's algorithm to serve up our videos to more like-minded viewers like you. Oh, and be sure to share the video with everyone you know on your social media feeds. Send the link to your friends, especially your bowling friends. And tell the folks at your local bowling center to play Prodigy in the center or in the pro shop. Most folks in the bowling business enjoy Prodigy once they've seen it, but if they don't know about it, they won't watch. Help us grow Prodigy by spreading the word about the show. And thanks to you for being a loyal viewer of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. A heck of a nice run by Andrew Ravasini ends in match 3 with a third-place finish. Not bad for his first tournament ever. But he ran into a buzzsaw in young Cameron Watson. The fact that Andrew stayed as close as he did for as long as he did says a lot about the amount of fight in him. But in the end, Cameron's 262 was just a little too much to overcome. So the young man with the strong backup ball finds himself bowling for the title today against our tournament leader, Dylan Johnson. Dylan is another one of these Lee Summit bowlers. I'm telling you, Lee Summit has become quite a hotbed of talented youth bowlers, and he's here to represent. But he better hope that Cameron Watson cools off a bit, or his chase for the title will be a steep climb. This could prove to be a fascinating match. Could also be a David and Goliath match. I don't know the difference in their heights, but Dylan towers over Cameron. And that opening toss goes through the nose. And Dylan starts with the 610. These two players have the same handicap, 17 pins, so for all intents and purposes, this is just mano-a-mano, head-to-head, like a scratch match. Covers the spare, no problem. Dylan, 16 years of age, turned 17 this spring. Cameron, 12 years old. Well, that time that ball just didn't have quite enough oomph to drive through to snap out the 7. So he will go to his spare ball and show us how he shoots at the 7 pin. He will take some of the backup spin off of it and just let it go straight. Oh, that one got away. So, an open frame to start. He gets 9 in the first frame. We've added that to his 17 pins of handicap. That's how we get to 26 on the score sheet in the first frame. Cameron with a big bounce back strike in the second. Labels the pocket on that one. Not much doubt about it. Over the 4th arrow. Looks to me like it gets out to about 4 or 5. And that is 10 back. All right, Dylan working on a spare. And look at that ball just run over the 10 pins. He doesn't look like he gets a big rev rate, but watch that ball as it revolves, going through the pins. Man, it is turning. Never a doubt about that one. A little high, but he gets the trip 4. Actually, he tripped both the 4 and the 9. Let's take a closer look at Dylan's unconventional game. When he lets the ball go, you see his elbow is broken and his wrist is broken back. That puts his fingers above the equator of the ball. Don't love that. We'd like to see his hand more behind the ball and his arm in a straighter line. That would give him more power and, frankly, more accuracy. But guess what? He got 2 strikes in a row, so shut my mouth. Ooh, man. Did that turn right or what? That almost left a split. The one disadvantage to Cameron's backup ball is that he doesn't generate a lot of speed. So when the lanes start hooking, he struggles sometimes. He needs to keep his speed up so that the ball will hold pocket and not overreact. I'm not going to be the one to recommend he switch from backup, but it wouldn't surprise me if, as he got older, he made that decision on his own. But I tell you what, as long as he keeps getting shots like that, you know what? My advice is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's that shot over the 4th arrow once again. He's blocking out where the ball takes the break, but he's been out around the 5th board or thereabouts. And that seems to be the golden spot for him. And there's another solid strike by Dylan Johnson, and he now has a turkey to go out to a 31-pin lead. His method is unconventional, but I'll tell you what he does that I really like is that when that ball hits the floor, he gets it into a roll quickly. And with the modern equipment today, I think there's a real advantage to that. That time just a fraction too high to trip out the 4-pin. So he loses a pin in count, and now the lead is 30. Well, you see Mark Morris over there on the lane to our right. That's Division 4 over there. The players bowling to our left, Division 3. And when we get to the end of the show, after we visit with our winner, we'll recap how those bowlers in the periphery to our left and right fared today. So stay tuned for that. And now Cameron Watson with a strike up. If he can double here, he can cut Dylan's lead down to 20. And there's the strike he was looking for. Tell you what, this kid is fearless. Look at this, a side-by-side. Cameron bowling in the land of the Giants. Here they are synced up at release. The long and the short of it. Dylan with decidedly more ball speed, but Cameron with the better entry angle. There's more than one way to skin a cat in this sport. And that time, Cameron's entry angle isn't enough to kick out the 7. And now here's the spare that he missed in the first frame, and that's got to be going through his mind. But he covers it this time. But he will remain 21 pins in arrears as Dylan Johnson gets up in the 6th frame. And all Dylan's thinking about right now is, let's start another string of strikes right here. But instead, that ball started hooking early on him. He may have laid it down out in the dry portion of the lane. Probably needs to move his feet a board or two to the left, but he leaves the 6-10. He's already made this once in this match. Oh, but this time he chops the 6 off the 10. And now that 20-pin lead is down to just 8. So fortunes can change quickly in the sport of bowling. Dylan Johnson, who says he wants to be a police officer one day. Well, that one got away from him. Leaves the 1-2-8. We saw this spare earlier today. It can be difficult, but put the ball on the 1 and 2, and you should be golden. But look out. Not going to make it over there. And now, this future police officer is going to need to arrest the slide, as he now has back-to-back opens and has handed the lead to Cameron Watson, who takes the lead sitting on the bench. And it's another 7-pin for Cameron. And now just 2 pins separate these two players. Same average, same handicap. I guess it's fitting that we would have such a close match. Cameron makes short work of that 7-pin. And now we're down to the final 3 frames. Who's going to step up at the end? One of these 2 players is going to win the February point tournament at the KCO. in Division II. Oh, this time he gets another light shaker. And I tell you what, he is living in that spot on the lane, and it is really paying dividends. Watch this. Actually pulled that one maybe aboard. But he got enough of the head pin to rip the rack. All right, Dylan, the gauntlet has been thrown down. And he answers the call with a solid strike of his own. Watch this one. This is actually going to be a little high on the head pin. And watch the 3-pin. It's going to go in the right gutter and just nudge out the 10-pin. But now the all-important shot in the 9th. Dylan Johnson with a strike working can take the lead with a strike here. Boom. That's clutch. This guy who says his best moment in bowling came when he did good at the 2024 Missouri Pepsi tournament. He might change his tune if he holds on to win here today. But now Cameron Watson with a chance to answer. He has a strike working and can take the lead with a strike. And he gets another blower. Wow. He is making a living in that light pocket. Watch this one. You're thinking, is it going to make it all the way back? Maybe, maybe not. Yes! Something tilts out the 10, and he loves it. But now he needs 2 strikes in the 10th and 9 to shut out Dylan. There's the first one. Wow. Well, I tell you what, this kid has got bowling in his blood. His dad, his grandpa, and great uncle all have sanctioned 300 games. And something tells me Cameron will have his share one of these days. All right. He needs this strike and 9 on the fill ball to lock up the tournament. No, but that 7-pin, that pesky 7-pin refuses to go, and Cameron has left the door open. This pin is almost immaterial here. But he does cover it. So the situation is this. Dylan Johnson needs 2 strikes in the 10th. 2 strikes and 2 pins on the fill ball to win the tournament. If he doesn't strike on either the first or second shot, young Cameron Watson is your winner. Care for some nerves with your bowling? This is what it's all about. Can you deliver with all the chips on the table? Gut check. Oh, he made a pretty good pass at it, but it's just a little too light. The 2 remains, and Cameron Watson has won the Division II title at the February KCO. Dylan had some fans in the gallery who bowl high school bowling with him, including his coach. He's going to finish in the 220s, assuming he gets good count on this last ball. And that'll win you some titles, but not this one, not today. Not against little Cameron Watson, who was just a fireball today. .220. So David defeats Goliath in the championship match. And it's Cameron Watson who will be signing the coveted trophy pin next. You know, there are lots of ways to support Prodigy Bowlers Tour. One way is to tell your friends about it and even send a link to the show to friends who may not have seen it before. But if you want to go one step further and show a little financial support for all the work that goes into creating these episodes of the show, and each episode takes about 40 hours to edit, become a Prodigy patron. For just $5 a month, you get early access to each full-length episode of the show, at least a day or two before the episode goes public. And for just $10 a month, you not only get early access to each episode, but you also join the elite supporters of the show by getting your name in the show's closing credits as an executive producer. To become a Prodigy patron, go to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and follow the directions to become a patron. It's like throwing a little change into the guitar case of someone who's playing guitar on the street. Just a small way to show your appreciation for the work that goes into creating the art that you then get to enjoy. And you'll receive my undying gratitude for your kindness. Once again, go to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and become a Prodigy patron. What an exciting final match. At one point, Dylan Johnson had a 31-pin lead, only to squander it with back-to-back opens in the 6th and 7th frames. But even with that, he managed to regain the lead, only to see Cameron Watson string together just enough strikes to move out ahead once again. Dylan still had a chance to win. He needed a double in the 10th frame to pull it out, but came up just a little short. Still, a .220 will win a lot of matches, so he can hold his head high. He didn't give it away, he just got beat. So it's Cameron Watson who takes the backup route to the winner's circle, where it's his turn to sign the coveted trophy pin. Well, I've been hoping we would get this guy on Prodigy Bowlers Tour for a while. Cameron Watson, you finally got on the show, and boy, did you make the most of it.
Yeah, I did. It was pretty hard, but I was able to get some lucky carry on all the light shots.
I wouldn't call those lucky. I'd call those blowers.
Yeah.
Those are power strikes, my friend.
Yeah, they were a lot of power strikes, yeah.
You know, the first time I saw you, you were bowling in the periphery on one of our earliest Kansas City episodes of Prodigy. And I caught you out of the corner of my eye. And you were, well, this was 2 or 3 years ago. How old are you now?
12.
So, yeah, you couldn't have been more than 8 or 9. And you might have been a foot shorter than you are now. You were pretty little. And you were bowling against Caden Darling, who's a pretty good bowler. And a little older than you, good bit older, and you were just throwing strike after strike after strike with this little two-handed backup ball, the likes of which I'd never seen before. And I looked at Caden, and he looked at me, and he gave me one of these looks like, I don't know, what can I do about it? And there was nothing he could do about it. You dusted him that day. And you went through 2 tough opponents today. And I'll tell you what, that comeback in the championship match, you were down by, I think, a little over 20 pins at one point.
Yeah, I think I was.
And then you just did what?
Get a turkey?
Yeah. So what were you thinking about when you were in that position where you had to strike?
I knew I needed to strike, so I was just focusing on throwing really good shots, and I did.
You sure did. Well, you know what this means. It means you get to sign the coveted trophy pin. Put your name on there. With today's date, it's 2/1/26. And this, of course, punches your ticket for the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions that'll happen in June after the KCO Invitational. And now we'll have a new invitee to the tournament. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
As I mentioned during the show, the players bowling in the periphery to our left were the Division III finalists. Here's how their stepladder played out. In the opening match, the number 5 qualifier, Adam Wilson, defeated the 4th qualifier, Brody Plaskey, 186-165. Then in match 2, it was the 3 seed, Logan Sparks, who dismissed Adam Wilson by a score of 204-172. Then in match 3, Logan Sparks went off. He shot a 279 scratch and a 282 with his 3 pins of handicap to defeat Joseph Anderson, who shot a respectable 196. That set up the championship match where Logan Sparks continued his stellar play, defeating tournament leader Maddox Page 261-211. So congratulations to Logan Sparks on winning the Division III title. Then, as I mentioned earlier on the show, the players bowling in the periphery to our right were the Division IV finalists. Here's how their stepladder shook out. In match 1, the 4th seed, Mark Morris Jr., defeated Milo Downs 180-156. In match 2, Mark Morris continued his winning ways, defeating Lillian Fuhr 166-133. Then, match 3 was a squeaker as Mark Morris kept his streak alive, barely, defeating the 2 seed, Julian Robinson, 185-182. And in the championship match, Mark Morris completed the sweep of the stepladder, beating the tournament leader, Kendall Schnell, 185-168. So congratulations to Mark Morris Jr. on winning the title in Division IV. And of course, you watched Cameron Watson shoot games of 262 and 233 in defeating 2 tough opponents to claim the title in Division II. On our next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, you'll see the championship round stepladder finals in Division I from this same tournament. And we'll recap how the finals shook out in Division V. If you'd like to bowl in an upcoming Kansas City Open, visit their website at www.kansascityopen.com. There you'll find entry forms, rules, and everything else you need to know about the KCO. So, until we speak again on episode 206 coming in about a week, this is Coach Randy reminding you to stay behind the foul line and keep kicking out those corner pins, not the foul lights and ball returns. And I'll talk to you next time on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Now, go get your bowl on.